Welcome to Gold Journal's Indian Premier League cricket match review.
Glad to be here for this one. It's a really fascinating one.
It really is. I mean, if you're listening to this deep dive, you probably already know the basic scoreline, but how does a team score 187 runs?
Right, which is a massive total.
Exactly. A total that really should guarantee a comfortable win, but they somehow look entirely, like a beaten team before the first ball is even bowled in the second innings.
That's wild.
So today, we are bypassing the usual highlight reels. We want to look at the hidden architecture of a collapse.
Because it is a collapse, even with those runs on the board.
It totally is. We're looking at how a team like the Chennai Super Kings, CSK, completely failed to defend that massive total against the Lucknow Super Giants LSG. We're going to unpack the psychological framing of this match, the hidden cost of what looks like a quote-unquote rescue innings, and a debutante who just shattered all their tactical plans.
Not to mention the actual biomechanics of a bowling nightmare.
Yes, exactly. And, a critical medical crisis that is just plaguing CSK behind closed doors.
Because a cricket match is, it's so often lost in the mind long before the physical execution falls apart on the pitch.
It's all mental.
Yeah, I mean, the setup, that subconscious threat assessment, it happens hours before the first ball is even bowled.
Oh, for sure.
The 187 runs on the board become entirely irrelevant if the team's internal compass is, pointing towards survival rather than actual domination.
And that psychological framing, it started right at the coin toss, right?
It did, exactly there.
Because CSK captain Ruturaj Gaikwad, he looks at the wicket and he publicly declares it a, quote, 170 to 180 pitch.
Right.
And suddenly the batters, like Sanju Samson, Gaikwad himself, Kartik Sharma, they seem to walk to the crease with this invisible mental ceiling hovering right over them.
Yeah, they were aiming for a defendable total, not a winning one.
Right. Even Gaikwad opening the batting is being viewed as a deeply defensive move.
Cool.
Because he's holding that spot largely because of the captaincy tag, not really because he's offering some fiery T20 style at the top.
No, not at all.
But I have to challenge the criticism here a little bit.
Okay, let's hear it.
Because isn't a captain supposed to be realistic? Like, assessing conditions is just part of the job?
Well, yes and no.
So is declaring a par score an actual tactical error? Or did the team just take his words too literally and, forget to shift gears when the pitch allowed for more?
See, declaring a par score like that is actually a profound tactical error in modern franchise cricket.
Wait, really?
Yeah, because in behavioral economics, they call it cognitive anchoring.
Oh, cognitive anchoring.
Exactly. Gaikwad basically dropped an anchor at 170.
I see.
Once you tell a lineup of world-class athletes that 170 is acceptable, you fundamentally alter their subconscious threat assessment.
Wow, so they just naturally dial it back.
Right. They take fewer risks, they consolidate when they should be expanding.
That makes sense.
And mechanically, this translates to batters gripping the bat like a fraction tighter.
Right.
They start playing for singles in the middle overs instead of committing to clearing the infield, and they second-guess their boundary options.
And the irony here is that they did reach 187?
Exactly. They pushed past that supposed par score and still couldn't defend it.
Because the mindset was wrong.
Yeah, it proves that the 170 to 180 mindset was essentially a blueprint for defeat.
Wow.
In the modern game, setting a cognitive ceiling limits those aggressive bat swings that you need to put a game entirely out of reach.
And that psychological ceiling didn't just affect the mood, it actually dictated their shot selection.
Oh, 100%.
You can see the math of that fear perfectly in Kartik Sharma's batting performance.
Is the so-called rescue operation.
Exactly. The top order collapses. Samson, Gaikwad, and Urval Patel are all gone early.
Really early.
So Kartik comes in and he scores 71 runs off 42 balls.
Which sounds great.
Right. On the surface, the box score suggests this brilliant anchor innings that, saved CSK from total humiliation.
Sure, that's the narrative.
But looking at the ball-by-ball breakdown, Kartik consumed 14 dot balls.
Yeah, 14 is massive.
In a T20 innings of that length, that is a glaring anomaly.
It really is. 14 dot balls is an absolute luxury that modern T20 simply does not afford.
No way.
A dot ball isn't just a zero in the scorebook. It is, it's like compounding interest on the team's pressure.
That's a great way to put it, because if he had played just a simple run-a-ball for those 14 deliveries, his score pushes past 80.
Right.
And the team total edges much closer to 200.
Exactly.
I kept thinking about this like Like a safeguard who saves a drowning swimmer but then takes an hour to row them back to the beach?
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
Right, like you survived the initial disaster, but you're still freezing, you're exhausted, and the delay itself is causing secondary trauma.
Yeah, exactly.
Are these quote-unquote rescue batters actually hurting their teams by taking too much liberty with the strike rate under the guise of consolidation?
Well, the lifeguard analogy captures the mechanism of secondary harm perfectly.
Because it's not just about the batter on strike.
Right. The unseen casualty in these rescue operations is the non-striker.
Right.
We focus so much on Karthik's bat, we completely forget what is happening to Dewald Brevis at the other end.
Oh, man, Brevis. Yeah.
Brevis comes in, and he hits a massive 6 on his very first ball.
Just pure intent from ball one.
Exactly. He has pure adrenaline, high intent, his visual tracking is locked in.
And
Then, Karthik frequently takes a single on the last ball of the over.
Hoarding the strike.
Yes. He hoards the strike, plays multiple dot balls, and leaves Brevis stranded at the non-striker's end.
And Brevis is just standing there watching the run rate stagnate.
It's agonizing for a batter.
And he knows that when he finally gets on strike, he has to face Mayank, who is hurling the ball at, 150 kilometers per hour?
Yeah, 150 with terrifying bounce.
That's just brutal.
The physical reality of that weight is punishing.
I can imagine.
In T20, a batter's rhythm is a highly, highly fragile physiological state.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When an anchor batter absorbs pressure by playing dots, they transfer that pressure directly to their partner.
Because the partner gets cold.
Right. While Brevis is standing at the non-striker's end for 4 or 5 minutes, his heart rate drops.
Wow.
Lactic acid starts to pool from his initial explosive movements, and he loses the rhythm of his visual tracking.
So he's physically less prepared to hit.
Exactly. Facing 150 kilometers per hour requires elite, fast-twitch muscle response.
Yeah, you can't be standing around.
So when he finally gets back on strike, he feels this overwhelming cognitive burden to manufacture a boundary instantly.
Just to make up for Karthik's dot balls.
Precisely.
Yeah.
That leads to panic, premature front foot commitment, poor shot selection.
And the momentum is entirely broken.
Exactly.
But, if the rescue operation was actually causing secondary damage, we really have to look at what caused the shipwreck in the first place.
Yeah, we have to talk about Akash.
Akash, a debutant for LSG who came in and just completely scrambled CSK's tactical plans.
It's incredible to watch.
He dismantled the top order, taking the massive wickets of Samson, Gaikwad, and Urval Patel.
And Urval Patel is the key here.
He really is, because in the previous game, Urval had just smashed 50 off 13 balls.
Right. He was the most dangerous man on the pitch.
Yeah, he was unstoppable.
But LSG's tactical brilliance really shone through in their specific plan for Patel.
What did they do?
They identified him as a predominantly leg side player.
Okay.
His power comes from the full extension of his arms through the mid-wicket region.
Right, so he needs room to swing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Akash didn't just bowl well, he executed a biomechanical trap.
A biomechanical trap. I love that phrasing.
He bowled incredibly tight bodyline deliveries, completely cramping Patel for room.
So he couldn't extend his arms.
Right. If you restrict a leg side player's elbow extension, you completely eliminate their torque and power generation.
Wow. And it worked perfectly.
It did. They restricted a batter who just hit a 13-ball 50 to a miserable 5 runs off 6 balls.
That is just wild. The execution was flawless.
Absolutely flawless.
But honestly, what stood out even more to me than the bowling was the audacity of Kash's celebration.
Oh, the piece of paper.
Yes. After taking these massive wickets, he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a pre-written dedication on a piece of paper.
Unbelievable swagger.
Right. Like you see veterans do this to silence critics after a long slump.
Yeah, not debutantes.
Exactly. Doing it on your debut, sitting in the locker room, writing a note, folding it up, and pocketing it before your very first professional game.
It assumes you are going to absolutely dominate world-class batters.
It's just sheer nerve. Looking at his swagger, his left arm pace, it immediately reminded me of Jeff Alott in the 1999 World Cup.
Oh, that is a fantastic comparison.
Right. Left arm pace, raw confidence, entirely unbalancing the opposition.
The Alott parallel is incredibly potent.
Yeah.
In '99, Alott took over 20 wickets in just 9 matches.
He was a machine.
He was dismissing absolute legends like Saeed Anwar and Michael Bevan with that same unplayable left-arm angle.
And just sheer psychological dominance.
Yeah, he brought a highly disruptive energy that elite batters simply couldn't compute in real time.
And Alad's career, it was tragically cut short. Right?
Yeah, by a back injury at 29. He only played 31 matches before he had to retire.
But his ability to completely unbalance a game is legendary.
Oh, for sure.
There's that famous test match where he spent 101 minutes at the crease as a no-11 batter.
I remember that.
He faced 77 balls for exactly 0 runs.
0 runs in almost 2 hours.
0. Just to build a 36-run partnership and save the match.
Incredible focus.
It takes a very specific, stubborn kind of confidence to operate like that.
It really does.
And Akash brought that exact disruptive energy to CSK. He threw them completely off their axis.
It really did. And that disruption forced CSK to scramble to 187.
Right.
But as we discussed with the cognitive anchoring, defending that total with a broken psychology is where the physical execution truly falls apart.
Which brings us to the historic disaster of Anshul Kamboj.
Yeah, this was painful to watch.
This was a bowling nightmare that is just hard to process.
It was a total breakdown.
Kamboj conceded 63 runs in just 16 balls.
Unbelievable.
That is an economy rate of 23.6.
Wow.
Which shatters the record for the worst economy rate in IPL history for a bowler bowling a minimum of 2 overs.
He broke Washington Sundar's 2024 record at DC, right?
Exactly. The 5th over was just a total collapse.
Yeah.
He gave up 28 runs, getting hit for back-to-back, identically placed 6s by Pooran.
Pooran had been entirely out of form.
Completely out of form, but Kamboj showed absolutely 0 variation.
Not at all.
I was watching this thinking, if you've been hit for 3 6s in the exact same spot, why not try a wide Yorker?
Right.
Why not modify your wrist angle for a slower ball?
Yeah.
What is actually happening in a bowler's brain when they just keep feeding the exact same delivery?
Well, what you were witnessing is the total shutdown of the prefrontal cortex under severe acute stress.
Wait, his brain literally shut down?
And essentially, yes. When a bowler's working memory is overloaded with the visual trauma of seeing a ball disappear into the stands,
Yeah.
their cognitive flexibility just vanishes.
Oh, wow.
Because bowling a wide Yorker or, say, rolling your fingers over the seam for a slower ball, that requires executive function and delicate biomechanical control.
Like a marginally later release point or massive core stability.
Exactly. But under panic, the brain abandons those complex tasks.
So what does it do?
It reverts to the most deeply grooved neural pathway, which is governed by the basal ganglia.
Ah.
So for Kamboj, that deeply ingrained motor pattern was his standard stock delivery.
He physically lost the ability to adapt.
He really did. He bowled the exact same line and length because his motor cortex was essentially caught in an adrenaline-induced repetitive loop.
Which allowed Pooran to basically watch real-time action replays and hit identical 6s.
Exactly. It's a deer-in-the-headlights phenomenon.
Maybe let's contrast that complete lack of adaptability with LSG's bowlers earlier.
Night and day.
Mayank and Akash were constantly varying their pace, utilizing sharp bounce, changing lines, setting complex field traps.
They were constantly thinking.
Yeah, while Kamboj was just frozen.
But the more pressing question is, why was Kamboj left out there to suffer?
Right. Why didn't the captain rotate him out immediately after it was clear his executive function had shut down?
And that points directly to the underlying structural failure of the entire CSK team.
Because their bowling depth is so depleted.
Right. They're basically operating an infirmary instead of a roster right now.
It's wild. So the lack of rotation wasn't a tactical choice.
No, it was pure desperation.
Wow.
A franchise in a tournament like this is really only as strong as its medical staff and bench depth.
And the sources highlight something quite alarming about that.
They really do. CSK is not just suffering from impact injuries.
Right. These are not broken fingers from a high-speed delivery.
Exactly. These are fitness-related breakdowns.
Soft tissue injuries, hamstring tears, muscle fatigue.
Right. And this explicitly raises serious questions about the competence of the CSK medical team.
Yeah, their entire sports science and load management protocols.
Because the casualty report is staggering.
Let's just list them off. Dewald Brevis missed early games. Ayush Mahatria was having a breakout season, scoring over 200 runs with 350s in just 6 games.
Incredible form.
And then a hamstring injury completely rules him out for the season.
Just like that, you lose your top order stability.
Yeah. Then Khalil Ahmed, who was delivering brilliant clinical death overs, he goes down.
A huge loss for the bowling attack.
And Jamie Overton, arguably their best all-around player with 10 wickets in 8 matches and vital batting contributions.
Injured and sent all the way back to the UK.
Just brutal.
When you look at the biomechanics of modern T20 schedules, the travel and recovery windows are brutal.
I can't even imagine.
Fast bowling is a violently explosive kinetic chain.
Right.
If a player has a slightly fatigued hamstring from inadequate travel recovery, their delivery stride alters by a fraction of an inch to compensate.
Oh, and that throws everything off.
Exactly. That compensation forces unnatural strain on the back or the shoulder, leading to a major breakdown.
And when you lose your premier death bowler and your leading wicket taker to these types of fitness issues, your strategic playbook is useless.
Completely useless. You are no longer managing a cricket match. You are performing triage.
And hovering over all of this medical tape and muscular breakdowns is the ghost presence of MS Dhoni.
Ah, yes, the ghost presence.
There was massive preseason hype about a quote-unquote final Chepauk match, a glorious farewell tour.
Right.
Yet he hasn't played a single game.
Not one.
He is only seen in reels or lingering on the sidelines. He looks legendary, but he offers absolutely no on-field relief.
Yeah, it's a profound irony.
Having your talisman lingering purely as a mascot while the actual playing XCI is patched together and physically disintegrating in real time under the stadium lights?
It creates a heavy psychological dissonance for the squad.
I bet.
The ultimate problem solver is physically in the dugout. He cannot cross the boundary rope to save them.
Right. Now, there was one rare bright spot in this structural collapse.
Yeah, Spencer Johnson.
Exactly. He stepped in as a replacement player. And in a game where the rest of the bowling attack was traveling at 15 to 20 runs and over, he managed to bowl decently, maintain his composure, and pick up a wicket.
Which is great for him.
But one replacement player holding his nerve doesn't fix a systemic issue.
Precisely. Because T20 franchise tournaments are wars of attrition.
Yeah.
The team that lifts the trophy isn't always the team with the most raw, explosive talent.
No.
It's the team whose conditioning and recovery protocols keep that talent on the field.
So true.
CSK's season isn't derailing because of poor execution of the cover drive or a missed Yorker on the pitch.
Right.
It is derailing off the pitch, entirely in the recovery rooms and the physio clinics.
We spend so much time analyzing the dropped catches, the dot balls, the predictable bowling patterns.
Yeah.
But maybe we are looking at the wrong end of the problem.
We usually are.
Which leaves me with a lingering question for you to ponder.
Let's hear it.
When a team is so thoroughly decimated by non-contact fitness-related injuries, at what point do we stop blaming the player's execution under pressure and start looking intensely at the franchise's behind-the-scenes sports science?
It's the multi-million-dollar question.
Are the grueling schedules, the relentless travel, and the explosive physical demands of modern franchise cricket finally pushing the human body past its structural limits?
Because if the underlying biomechanics of the athletes aren't protected by elite science, even the greatest tactical plans will collapse before the coin is even tossed.
Thank you. See you soon with upcoming matches.